In this video, I'm going to narrate a Michael Hall article. As you know, Michael Hall is a co-founder of Neurosemantics, which was created to raise the quality of ethics and professionalism in NLP and to take NLP to a higher level of quality and presentation. The article is titled Emotional Credibility. It refers to the Ford-Kavanaugh controversy and gives insights from an NLP perspective of what has been happening. If you are familiar with the NLP meta model and Michael Hall's mind lines and Robert Dilts' sleight of mouth model, then this will make even more sense to you. This is an important video, so please share it on social media. Okay, here we go, beginning of the article. An amazing thing happened this past week. An accuser made accusations against a man with a sterling record as a legal scholar and a judge for 12 years on the Washington, D.C. circuit. Yet in the end, the accusations themselves proved to be unsubstantiated and uncorroborated by any evidence or any witness. What I then found quite amazing is that when asked if she was believable, a great percentage of the American population said yes. Many Republicans also said yes and went further. They said that her testimony was credible. Now, assuming that they were not just being nice and that they really meant that, how could testimony be credible when there's no evidence and no witness would corroborate it? How could most people say that they believe a witness who accuses a person of a hideous crime when there's no evidence in the slightest? How does that work? What do we or should we base credibility upon? In the words of the scores of people who were interviewed by the media, it was an emotional testimony. And yes, indeed it was. But, and here is the big but, is an emotional testimony the same thing as or equal to credibility? Is the degree of your child's emotional intensity when wanting something or complaining about something equal to and the same thing as the validity of his cry? Is it true that because he is emotional and really, truly wants something? What we have here is what NLP called a complex equivalence. One thing is equated to another thing. Here we have externally a strong emotional statement, expression, state, etc. Here also we have another thing, an internal concept, credibility, validity, truthfulness, etc. Then we put these together into a sentence and equate them. We have a belief statement. The external behavior is now equal to the internal state. So see the book Mind Lines by Michael Hall, 2005 edition. If something is expressed or stated emotionally, then it is true, valid, and credible. If an accuser is emotional, sincerely and intensely, then the accusation must be true. I have to believe someone, validity, credibility, if that person goes into an emotional state. So what we have with the complex equivalence, we have A equals B, all right? This means this, and this is what Michael's just explained here. So if it's not quite clear to you, go to the website and read the article. So let's continue. Of course, the linguistic framing here that creates this belief is pseudo-logical. It creates a false to fact belief, a limiting belief, and a statement of low-level primitive thinking pattern. The fact is that the emotionality of a statement does not necessarily make it true or valid. But of course, in an age of emotion, namely this age, a non-critical thinking statement like that seems for most people easy to believe. Yet what are people saying, really saying, when they believe that? They are saying, if she's emotional, her testimony is credible. They're saying if she's just stating facts and not dramatically feeling it as she says it, her testimony is not credible. They are saying to be credible, a person must go into state, re-experience things, and if it is a negative experience, the voice must crack and the person must look like and sound like a victim. Okay, you getting the picture? So let's now step back for a moment and consider all of this. Upon what should we base credibility on? All right, so what facts, evidence, information, etc. justifies us to believe someone when they testify to some event? Is their emotions and emotional state a sufficient or even a necessary fact to the truthfulness of their statement? Is their emotion and emotional expression in itself information or evidence to the reality of the event? You know, as an aside here, I've sometimes thought that when it comes to election time, that none of the politicians should be able to have their voice put over over the media, whether that's TV or radio. And this is so that you take the emotion out of it, you take the person out of it, and all you have is the statement, the words. And then what we have to do, we have to look at those words, and from those words, well, we can create our own understandings and project our own feelings and emotions onto it. But that's what we're putting onto it. So I think too often politicians get into power based upon their looks and their oratory skills. And I think we need more than that. Okay, continue. If you think the answer to these questions is yes, then go visit a mental ward. There you will find many highly emotional people with very intense emotional testimonies. Some will testify very emotionally about aliens, taking them into spaceships and scanning their bodies or performing operations on them. Yet, does that make them credible? In medieval times, people testified very emotionally that some woman was a witch, and that testimony was sufficient evidence for them to condemn her and burn her at the stake. For those a little bit more enlightened, they first interrogated her using painful devices to eke out a confession, and then they burned her. The fact is, emotions, emotional states, and emotional testimonies do not, in and of themselves, provide credibility. Actors who have learned the acting method have learned how to turn on and turn off at their command all sorts of emotional states. States that are real to them and that can induce others into strong emotional states. And I think we saw Meryl Streep at the last, I don't know, what do they call it, in the Hollywood Logie Awards or something or other. And there she was. She put on this really emotional display. And the audience all applauded her because they're all actors as well. But it's just got nothing to do with facts. Myself, I'm a bit tired of us expecting to believe emotions rather than facts. Okay, so to the extent that you might need a strong emotional state to be able to function or perform well in a given area, that's what NLP can teach you to do. Now, Tony Robbins is highly skilled in this area, as the thousands who attend his Date with Destiny program can testify to. Credibility should go to facts. What is the evidence that such and such an event occurred? Who will testify under oath to corroborate the testimony? If nobody can say, yes, I remember being there and seeing or hearing that, then is there any evidence, any facts that can establish the credibility of a report? For a modern scientific attitude about things, we look for facts. and assume that a person is innocent unless there are facts that indicate otherwise. This has been the basis of jurisprudence in modern societies for hundreds of years, in spite of emotional testimonies. Okay, so that's it. So let me know what you think in the comments section below, and remember to like, subscribe if you haven't already done so, and share the video. That's really useful. Helps my channel. All the best to you, and I look forward to seeing you again.